These companies 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh, 3 lakh, so many employees. We feel like, oh my god, it's a big company. 5 lakh employees. What will be the salary? What will be the sales? What will be the profit? How will be the company? How will this person? Correct? Just like this. But if you talk about employment, contribution to employment, contribution to GDP, okay, then big companies do not contribute much. Because big companies are, for example, just 10 in numbers. Other 90 is a size or SME, small and medium scale enterprises. So I am a normal person. I may not get job in MNC. I am working in local company that is in my surroundings. Correct? Similarly, most of the people. Okay. So benefit of small scale and medium scale enterprises. That is another topic, but it just came up. So I am telling. Contribution towards GDP and employment is more of small and medium scale enterprises. You all agree? No? Fine. Government policy. So if a company, suppose the company, so government is giving subsidy to the company. Small scale. The government decides, central government decides that all SSI we will give. That was our topic. Yes, will give subsidy. So if your production cost is 100 rupees, government will give you 20% subsidy. Subsidy means financial support from government. Subsidy means financial support from government. So if the cost of production is 100 rupees, government decided 20% subsidy to every SSI. So now the production cost will directly come down by 20 rupees. Correct? Because you are getting that 20 rupees from government. Similarly, if government decides to give more subsidy, then there will be more industries, more production, more supply. Clear? On the other side, if government decided zero subsidy and more tax, so 100 rupees is cost of production plus 20% tax by government. So 120. Correct? There are so many types of taxes. Excise duty. What is excise duty? Tax on goods produced. Tax on goods produced. So even for production, we are paying tax. But not every company. In case of excise, it is company which have to pay tax, and not many others. But let us take this example. Even if sales tax or VAT or GST for now. So these taxes increase the price. Correct? Where price will be more, obviously low demand, high price, low demand. So government can help in increasing production and supply by increasing rate of subsidy and decreasing rate of tax. Is that thing clear? I think some of you did not understand because it is not clear or not. So after this, see, one side consumer, other side producer. Where will they meet? Okay. So that is another chapter we'll be studying in economics, market. Okay. So in market we'll be studying about different types of competition. That is the market structure or also called market forms. So when we talk about market, then there is monopoly. Monopoly means only single firm supplying that particular telecom. Earlier there were so many players like Aircel and Uninor, Vodafone Idea, Docomo. There were many players. But after Jio came up with that grand offer, then many companies started. Okay? So from the time Jio has come up in market, it is working on creating monopoly, like ensuring that every person uses Jio. So automatically, the market share of Jio will be more than others. Okay. Then we have duopoly, oligopoly. Like oligopoly is where a few sellers will supply a product. Now, if you talk about petroleum, then in India we have only Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan HP, Hindustan Petroleum, then Indian Oil and Shell. Only four. Is there any other name? No, right? So this is called oligopoly. A few sellers controlling supply of that product. Okay? Then monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition. So what actually operates most of the time is monopolistic competition. Like today, whatever you look around, all that is monopolistic. There will be many competitors, many companies, many producers supply same product with differentiated features. Like substitute, close substitutes. Close substitute means what is the substitute? Redmi and Samsung mobiles substitute. Hyundai cars and Honda cars substitutes. Okay. So substitute is another product that satisfies the same amount. That satisfies the same amount. Okay. So even Hyundai is offering, Toyota is offering, so all that is close substitute. Not same, not identical products. They are not offering identical. Like Honda is offering same model, same color, same design. No, it is a little different. Design is different, interior is different, exterior is different. Right? So monopolistic competition. What is the thing that each competitor will offer close substitute. Close substitute. Okay? Clear? So we are seeing all this in real life market. Or not?
Yes, sir.
Then after market, this is all microeconomics. This is all microeconomics. Because there are thousands and thousands of producers and lakhs of consumers, right? You may like Honda cars, I may like Hyundai, she may like Toyota, and each one of them different. So each one of us likes differently and demands differently. So when we are studying about individual producer, that is only about Honda or only about Hyundai or only about Samsung. When we are studying only about individual producer or individual consumer or individual market, like Bangalore is a market, Bangalore is a market, Mandya is a market, Mysore is a market. Okay, in Bangalore, 2 BHK house 20,000. But in other districts of Karnataka, it may be just 10,000. 10,000. So what is happening? Price of real estate in Bangalore is high, but it is not affecting price of the same in other markets. So when all this is called microeconomics. Why? Because here we are talking about individual producer, individual consumer, individual market. Individual market. And next thing is macro. So macro doesn't leave anyone. Doesn't leave anyone. It's like it covers everyone. For example, money. So is there any person in India who doesn't need money? No. So money is macroeconomics. Money is macroeconomics. Can any person, can any business have a smooth life? Like can any business operate efficiently without banking? No, right? Because they are paying not directly through cash as earlier. They are like credit salary to employee's account. Right? Each company will open current account. Each company will open current account. So salary transfer to each one employee's account. Then when company is paying to debtors, to say creditors, suppliers, or anyone to check. Right? So without banking, a business cannot work. Forget about this transfer and all. If a company needs loan for growing its business, so obviously banking. Right? So banking is what? Micro or macro? Macro. Because it is needed by everyone and anyone. And next thing, tax. So tax. Do you think if your salary is above that tax limit, government will leave you no problem? You don't pay tax. Will they do like that? No, right? Any one of us can government leave? No. In fact, if you don't pay, then after some time they will see and seize your company. Not on big law. Correct? So taxation is macro or micro? Then 43 declared demonetization. Okay? Night everybody was going to sleep and half night. Now I won't say even morning. Midnight from today no 500. No. I don't know what great thing we achieved with that. But that happened and throughout India, every state, people were standing in line outside ATM or their banks to change their old cash. Correct? So demonetization affected everyone. Now that is micro or macro? Okay. Then balance of payment for international trade. So international trade is happening between two countries. So obviously entire India is covered. Okay. Entire India is covered. And exchange rate. When exchange rate is happening, few years before $1 was 45 rupees. $1 was 45 rupees. Today $1 is 75. Actually more than that, but we'll give another 75. So just in 5 to 6 years, that exchange rate of Indian currency reduced by 30 rupees. Right? 40 rupees. It's a big problem. Okay? Now this exchange rate. If you any one of you decide to go to America, this exchange rate will not affect you. Can you tell me, will it affect or not affect? Anybody who can escape from it? So exchange rate is also or foreign exchange. Simply say foreign exchange. It's micro or macro? Clear now? Then balance of payment. So balance of payment. Now this thing sometimes it is confusing. Okay. But I will think balance of payment. Now something I have to pay. Some balance is there. Everything. Okay. So this is not clear understanding. Balance of payment is actually about balance of trade. Balance of trade. You all know that people and companies will import from other countries and export to other countries. Correct? And people from India go to abroad to study or for a job. Similarly, companies are expanding their business abroad. So what is happening? During all these transactions, import and export, for people going abroad for study or for job, or they are coming here. So what is happening? During all this, receipts and payment is happening. Okay? When people from India go to abroad to study, then they are paying. Payment is happening. When people from India go to work, they are getting that money, so receipt is happening. Correct? Everyone. Simple, right? Or similarly, when you are importing is buying from foreign country. How you buy from a shop outside? Similarly, if you buy from foreign country, then you import. So when you are buying, you are paying. Similarly, when you are importing, you are getting money. Similarly, when some company is exporting goods to foreign country, export is happening. And getting receipts. Right? So before to understand balance of payment properly, we will first have to study balance of trade. That is export and import. Export and import. So every country want to have more export and less import. Every country want to have more export and less import. Why? Because more export, more receipts from foreign people, from foreign countries. And when more import, more payments. So we become poor. Correct? Now this is foreign Indian currency value. So every country is like that. So from here we have three concepts. When export is more than import, that is called surplus trade. When export is more than import, surplus trade. When import is more than export, deficit trade. Deficit. See, there are only three situations: export and import equal, or export more, or import more. Correct? So when export is more, then surplus trade. When import is more, deficit trade. When both are equal, then balance trade. Similarly, coming to balance of payment. So for export, from export receipt is happening, and from import payment is happening. Right? So, and when people are going abroad to work, they are getting receipts. Then the money will come into India. Right? And if people going abroad to study, then payment from India will happen. So when receipt is more than payment, then when receipt is more, surplus, correct? Surplus balance of payment. And when payment is more, then deficit. When both are equal, yes. Understood this concept? Fine. Now, balance of payment. So what is balance of payment? One simple meaning or definition. So balance of payment is equal to balance sheet of a company. Balance of payment is equal to balance sheet of a company. You are a commerce students, you all know account very well. Every time you have to prepare balance sheet. Correct? So in balance sheet what we show? Assets are liabilities. And both are always equal. Both are always equal. Same way, a government will prepare its balance sheet in the form of balance of payment. When a company is preparing its assets and liabilities position, it is called balance sheet. When government is preparing it, it is called balance of payment. Clear everyone? So every year central government will do that. Every year central government will do that. One side receipt, one side payment. Okay? So these receipt and payment are shown under two headings. When you are preparing account, what you are doing? You are preparing capital account of partners, correct? And you are preparing current account. Capital account or current account, correct? Similarly, here we have two accounts. A government of any country will prepare balance payment under two headings. Current account and capital account. Current account and capital account. Okay? You may have this MCQ. Many times for CS students, this MCQ has come. Like, what are the two major headings of balance of payment? Like, what are the two major accounts? Major accounts. For how balance of payment is divided into different accounts. So it is current account and capital account. Okay? Now, another question comes that what should be recorded under current account and what the capital account. Okay? Is it going? Are you all still okay to listen some more points? Well, it's been a long time, so maybe after you finish your official classes, you can do a little planning. Fine. So, you must have studied about capital items and revenue items. Okay? Capital items and revenue items. First year PUC. First year PUC you had this chapter. Okay? Yeah, obviously, after the right exam, we forget everything. During exam, that last 1 month, okay, we make one library in front of us. 11 months, we don't even know which book, what syllabus. Okay. And within that 1 month, I will be at the center. This side one book, this side one book, this side notebook, this is short book, this side. Like so much. Correct? So obviously we may not remember what is capital item, what is revenue item. Okay? So fine. Now my job is to make it as simple as possible. Okay? So revenue items are recurring items. Revenue items are recurring items, which happen again and again. And capital items are non-recurring items, which happens once in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Okay? Now I will give you some example. You have to say it is revenue item or capital item. So salary paid to employees, because we do it every month, right? Then proceeds from sales, that is income received from sales of products. Purchase of furniture. Okay. PDD on debtors, provision for doubtful debts on debtors or bad debts. Bad debts is what? A customer had to pay 10,000, he did not pay 1,000 rupees to me. Okay? When I'm selling on credit, I'm creating debtors. When I'm selling on credit, I'm creating debtors. So every time there is chances that some customers will become bad debts. They will not pay. So what amount they are not getting, that is bad debts. So bad debts is revenue item or capital item? Yeah, because you said regularly. Correct? Then interest paid. If a company has taken a loan, interest paid. Revenue or capital? Then bank loan, that is capital item. Because company will not do that every year. But interest paid is regular. Revenue item. Correct? Then purchase of any fixed assets, land, building, car, because once we buy a machine that can work for next 10 years, land and building for next 50 or 100 years also. Correct? So will you all remember the difference between revenue and capital items? Now coming back to the main topic, balance of revenue. So under current account we record revenue items. Under current account we record revenue receipts and revenue payment. Okay? Under current account we are recording under capital we are recording capital receipts and capital payment. So now let me give some example from government side or balance of payment side. So some of your maybe your own brother or sister went abroad and they're working and they're sending money. So that is called transfer. That's called transfer. Okay? So transfer is current account or capital account? Current account, because in 1 year there will be 3-4 times, if not every month. Correct? Transfer is current account. FDI, like Microsoft decided to invest money in Bangalore this area. Capital item or current account? Capital account or current account? Capital. Because FDI will not happen every year. Every year, different companies will invest. Or same company at different place, but at the same place, at the same like FDI will not happen every time. Right? Once it is invested, that will be working for next 100 years also. Now, what Microsoft, IBM, Dell have invested here some 20 years before, that is still going on. Correct? So, FDI, foreign direct investment, that is capital account. Clear? So, I covered almost all the things on this syllabus. Macro, we will be studying economics in two parts, micro and macro. So micro is always about individual economic entities. Individual economic entities. And macro is always about the entire country. Entire country. It is always about the entire country or entire nation. Okay? So if you ever have a confusion, like you may have MCQ when you are writing your foundation. Then you may have MCQ. Then again, which of the following is microeconomics? Which of the following is microeconomics? Such question may come. So, one simple idea. Read your question, see, look at the options, and see if it is applicable to entire nation, to all the people of country, then it is macro. And if it is to one particular category, group of people or area, then it is micro. Okay? So, I've talked on every topic possible in short. Now, from your side, if there is anything, you can ask me. Ask.